Uploaded to the Creepypasta Fandom Wiki. Original author unknown. Originally uploaded on January 27th, 2012. The Midnight Game is an old pagan ritual, typically performed as punishment for those who had broken the laws of the pagan religion in question. While it was also used as a scare tactic to not disobey the gods, there is still a very existent chance of death to those who play the Midnight Game. There is an even higher chance of permanent mental scarring. It is highly recommended that you do not play the Midnight Game. However, for those few thrill seekers searching for a rush, or for those delving into obscure occult rituals, these are the simple instructions on how to play. Do so at your own risk. So, growing up Gen Z, we were the first generation with access to the internet from an early age, but it's before child safety was truly enacted and helicopter parents got good at actually understanding what the internet was and what was on it. That led to us obviously being places we shouldn't be, and a lot of the times we ended up finding some pretty spooky stuff, at least to us at the time. These stories, these little short 2-paragraph threads that you'd find in everything from forums to YouTube comment sections to little short narrations on YouTube, they were called creepypastas. And all of them were obsessed with trying to make the next big thing. Just classic, pulpy, tropey stuff that really formed some of our tastes as, consumers of horror media and art in general. In my case, the Midnight Game was my absolute favorite. And I like to get my fix around this time of year, October. I listen to Creepcast every single Sunday.
5-minute long video where a man with no legs is attempting to breakdance on a DDR mat in what looks like... I'm sorry, Hunter, is something funny?
Yeah.
Is there something you want to bring up?
That really does help ignite my imagination and continued love for those old school stories. But I wanted to make tribute to my favorite one. I'm going to be showing you a little card game I made based off of the Midnight Game. This game is aptly named The Midnight Ritual, and it takes all the elements from the original story, the scary elements, the ever-dwindling candle, the darkness and shadows, right? If that game was real, this is my interpretation of how it would play out. So, without further ado, I'm Max, this is Slayer Game Studio, and I'm here to show you how to play my newest game. Let's get right into it. So, the game comes packaged in this little 18-card foldable poker box. Flip it up from the left and fold it right open. Now you'll have the instructions right on the inside of the box and all of the cards right in front of you. Go ahead and separate the 16 room cards from the 2 reference and candle cards. You'll need them separate because these 2 are used to track your progress through the game. Place the rules reference on top of the candle card, lining the wick up with the rest of the candle drawing. This is a timer or health bar to show how much candle wax you have left. Notice the hatch marks on it. What you want to do is draw it over the top, going up and down to track how much you have left as the game goes on. Now, after the beginning of the game, once you go over the top of 5, it stays there. It never goes any higher past the beginning of the game. Now for the remaining cards. They can be broken up in 2 types, although they're in the same deck. The items and the rooms. Let's go over the items first. There are 4 of them. Starting with the ritual rune. This is what you need to finish the game. You only carry 1 in your hand at a time, and you lose a point of candle wax on collection. You bring that back to the ritual site, which we'll get to later. Next up, the lighter. This item can be discarded to ignore wax loss in certain rooms, and when picking up ritual runes. Instead, you discard it and gain 1 wax. Pretty simple, very useful, but there's only one. The door key. This item is used specifically to interact with locked doors. Discard it when you're on top of one of these, and instead of losing wax, you'll be able to draw 4 cards and place it down, replacing the locked door with whatever one you choose. Alternatively, you lose 1 wax. Lastly, the most common item, the matchbook. Simply put, it lets you restore 3 candle wax. Now, let's go over the rooms. There are 6 different types of rooms, each one with varying effects. The ritual site is where you begin and end the game. Now you see, as soon as you move off of it, it gets discarded and shuffled into the bottom of the room deck. You bring ritual runes to it, which are another special type of item that cost wax to pick up. You only carry one at a time, but you need to bring them back to the site in order to collect points to win the game. And that rule with discarding still applies each time you enter it. The locked door, we already went over this one. Simply put, you need to discard a key at it in order to activate its effect. Otherwise, you lose 1 wax passing through. Calm hallway. Simple, nothing bad happens. Lucky and sometimes a saving grace. Fleeting shadows. Ooh, did you see something around the corner? Or did you not? Either way, your candle's running out a little faster now. -2 wax. Shifting darkness. This one's interesting. Reshuffle the rooms and lose 1 wax. You're getting a little disoriented here. In the long hallway, 1 wax. Now, let's continue with a small demonstration of the gameplay and how turns go. Obviously, you'd start the game from the ritual site. And a quick reminder, discarded cards are put back into the bottom of the deck, and you draw 2 cards every round. And what you want to do is place them either vertically across from each other or horizontally from the card you're currently on. So we have a ritual rune to the right and fleeting shadows to the left. And what you do is you pick one to move to. Now remember, the ritual site is special. It goes away as soon as you leave it. So we'll go away from there and move on to the ritual rune. Since there's nothing between the fleeting shadows and your current position, it gets discarded too. It's a line of sight rule. Now, the next cards you place down must be in the opposite position of the previous ones. So since we went horizontal, this time we will go vertical, on top and underneath our current card. Items are resolved when you leave the room, taking them with you as you go. So in this case, we can only carry 1 ritual rune. Our only option is to go down. As an important side note, you're only allowed to carry up to 3 items in your hand at a time. Ritual runes being a special case, not being allowed to have any copies in your hand. As you saw, we picked up the item as we left the room, discarding anything that broke line of sight to our current position. Picking it up required 1 candle wax, and this locked door passing through also requires 1 wax. We're now down to 3. We have shifting darkness on the left and a matchbook to the right. I think the choice here is obvious, taking up our second inventory slot with the matchbook. Now, for our next round, let's draw vertically. We have a key on top and a long hallway on bottom. Now, let's move up to grab the key and fill our final slot in our inventory. We'll have to remove these 2 cards since we're picking up the matchbook on our way out, and the long hallway will have to join it, due to all of those cards being taken out because of line of sight. To complete the game successfully, you'll need to return all 3 ritual runes to the site one at a time. All cards except for the ritual runes are shuffled back into the bottom of the room deck as the game goes on, giving it a constant rotation and a bit of a memorization puzzle. And all the while, you must keep your candle wax topped off, because if you hit 0, the game is over and the shadows win. So play carefully, but never slowly. And so, that wraps up our overview of the Midnight Ritual. I hope you enjoy my homage to one of my favorite scary stories, and get some spooks out of it yourself. Now everyone have a good scary holiday. I'll see you next time.